Hello, welcome to day 2 of your sourdough starting series. So this day is going to go so much faster than yesterday as we already went over the basics. Today all we're going to do is go over your first feeding and what that needs to look like. Now we're going to measure it out pretty precisely this time, but once your sourdough starter is mature, you can more just go by eye. But for the first week or two, it's really important that we do it precisely. So the first thing I'm going to do is get my scale, turn it on, and make sure that it's at grams. And there it is, it's at 0. So my jar empty was at 457. And you wrote down your number as well. So try to remember where you wrote that down and get that number and have it handy. So now we're going to weigh what you all you want to do to make this even simpler is take your starting number. So my jar was 457 and you're just going to add 25 grams to that. So 457 plus 25 is 482. So I am going to take out as much starter until my scale reads 482. Because when I put it on totally full, it is 631. So I want it all the way back down to 482. Now this discard is not active, so you can't use this discard. But going forward, when you have to discard, there are tons of recipes out there that you can make muffins, pancakes, waffles, different biscuit recipes, so you won't have to always waste it. But for now, we have to check it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. You do that too. Get your jar again back to its starting empty plus 25, whatever that is for you. Mine's 482 because I started at 457. I add that 25 grams and that's what you wanna get this to. So let's do that really quick. Okay, mine is at 482. I hope you got yours to where you need it to be. If it's within like 1 or 2 numbers, that's totally fine as well. If you're just having a hard time getting the exact amount out, within 1 or 2, totally fine. And now we're just gonna repeat exactly what we did yesterday. So grab your flour, whether you used a single or whether you used 2, make sure you have them. And then you want your filtered water. We're just gonna repeat again exactly what we did yesterday. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to zero back out my scale. So I'm back at 0, and then I'm going to add in 100 grams of my flour, and I'm gonna add in 75 grams of my water. If you are, again, doing the combination of all-purpose flour and rye or a different all-purpose flour combination, you'll add 100 grams of your flours combined and 100 grams of water. So let's do our second feeding. All right, my second feeding is done. Now all I have to do is mix it, put the lid back on, and try to set it in a warm place. Again, I like the sun, on a window ledge, or just anywhere in your kitchen that's warm. Spring can be a little bit challenging to grow your starter because the temperature can fluctuate. So just try to make sure it's a warm environment, and that's gonna really help foster the growth of the bacteria. So we'll mix it and then we'll be done. All right, so we did our second feeding. Make sure there are no dry bits of flour. Make sure it's incorporated really well. Stick your lid back on. Again, you don't want it airtight. Now you've probably noticed that when you got your starter, it didn't really have any bubbles and it just kind of looked dead. There was not a lot of activity, and that's okay. You won't see a lot of activity for the next couple of days. So we're gonna set this somewhere warm. We'll come back tomorrow and see what it looks like.